Hello, Commanders fans. Today we have some hot news that you can't miss. So get ready because there's a lot of important information coming. Before we start, we'd like to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay up to date with all the news about our Washington Commanders. Don't forget to leave a like, which really strengthens our community and helps bring this content to the most passionate fans of the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news. Two good NFL free agents the Commanders need to sign. One thing seems certain for the Washington Commanders in the 2025 offseason. They need to land a receiver to complement Terry McLaurin. Maybe it's Deebo Samuel? Or maybe Garrett Wilson. The Commanders have other needs, too. And here are two NFL free agents who are good stealth options to sign. Washington finished 12-5 last season and made it to the NFC Championship game. But they did it with a poor overall roster that was exposed to near maximum levels by the Eagles. Head coach Dan Quinn did a masterful job and should have been considered higher for Coach of the Year honors. But he'll need better players in 2025 to handle a tougher schedule. Cowboys cornerback Jordan Lewis could help. The Commanders have been a slouch in the secondary for years. They simply haven't found many standouts in the backfield. They've recruited poorly and need to shake things up. It started with a trade for Marshawn Lattimore. They're hoping he'll be healthy in 2025 and perform better than the 2024 version, which looked outclassed against high-level receivers. Lewis might be the right player to sign because of his price tag. He could get a one-year deal for $2.8 million. That's not a bad price for a guy who started 13 games and had a 71.7 overall grade last season. That ranked 36th among cornerbacks, putting him out of reach for a number one starter. And his coverage grade, something the Commanders desperately need, came in at elite 79.0. That ranked him a few spots outside the NFL's top 10 at number 14. Plus, Lewis is the kind of physical football player Quinn wants in his defensive scheme. Lewis also brings a no-excuses attitude. His response to the way the Detroit Lions ran roughshod over the Cowboys last season shows that, according to ESPN.com, the Lions used a tackle-eligible play 9 times and attempted a hook and ladder to take down Penei Sewell while leading by 4 touchdowns. They were trying to be sarcastic about it, Lewis said after the game. They were trying to embarrass us, but at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want. It's our job to stop them. Of course, the Cowboys may not let Lewis go, according to DallasCowboys.com. Jordan is just a super competitor, Executive Vice President and Director of Player Personnel Stephen Jones said. He's an insane guy and obviously a guy we want back on this football team. Besides, Lewis said he wants to stay in Dallas. Always, he said. Dallas is my home. My kids were born here. We would love to have another season here, or a couple of seasons here. My wife loves it. But I know it's a business, and we don't know what the front office needs. Lions cornerback Carlton Davis, 3, should be a target. The Commanders love a competitor and should be excited about what Davis brought to the Lions last season. He brought a big change to the defense, according to Pro Football Focus. Davis provided immediate stability to a young Detroit secondary that badly needed it after the defense suffered an unfathomable number of injuries in 2024, PFF wrote. Davis even succumbed to the injury bug, suffering a season-ending injury in Week 15. When he did play, he showed what he could do, according to PrideOfDetroit.com. Despite the Bucs running a lot of cover 3 under Todd Bowles, Davis proved to be adept in man coverage when given the opportunity, Ryan Matthews wrote. And a plus defender against the run, 2 highly coveted skills in Aaron Glenn's defense. Since 2020, Davis has put up impressive numbers in man coverage. 48.3% completion rate allowed, 24.8% forced incompletion rate, 72.4 passer rating allowed, for interceptions against 5 touchdowns allowed. And perhaps most importantly, he's established himself as a true number 1 cornerback who can handle those tough assignments. Lions coach Dan Campbell said Davis has brought a lot to the Lions defense. That was an extraordinary addition, Campbell said during the season. I told him, man, one of the best plays we made was acquiring you, getting you in here. And there's nothing better than a coverage cornerback who runs, hits, makes tackles, fills the run fearlessly, and then you see what he was able to do with those plays yesterday. The part where Campbell says no fear should perk up the ears of Quinn and defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. That's the kind of player the Commanders want on their defense. so it seems like Davis fits the bill on multiple levels. Tampa Bay drafted Davis in the second round of the 2018 NFL Draft. He has amassed an impressive 11 interceptions in 88 career NFL starts. Davis spent his first 6 seasons with the Buccaneers, helping them win the Super Bowl in 2020. Davis started all 4 games that postseason, defending 3 passes along the way. Why the Commanders should do everything they can to acquire Myles Garrett. The Washington Commanders opened their Super Bowl window early after an incredible run in 2024. Trading for All-Pro defensive end Myles Garrett won't be the missing piece, but it will move Dan Quinn's team that much closer. Garrett isn't happy with the Cleveland Browns. The defensive end submitted a trade request after growing disillusioned with the current direction of the franchise. They don't have a quarterback, yet capable of mounting a playoff push. The pass rusher doesn't want to waste his remaining prime years languishing in mediocrity or worse. It didn't take long for the Commanders to be linked to Garrett. The former number 1 overall pick seemed intrigued by the possibility of playing with quarterback Jaden Daniels during his appearances on Radio Row. Getting a deal done given the Browns' reluctance is the challenging part. The Browns believe they can work out a deal with Garrett. He hasn't given much indication that this relationship can be repaired. Both sides are entrenched, and Cleveland is likely getting calls from vultures looking to capitalize on the team's situation with one of the league's most dominant players, regardless of position. The C-suite should do everything in its power to secure a Myles Garrett trade. Adam Peters should be at the front of the line. The general manager may not want to give up the compensation Andrew Berry wants if he becomes more receptive to offers, but he has to try. Garrett is one of the true defensive game changers. He can turn the tide of any contest if given enough cap space. Elite pass rushers like that are hard to come by. They never become available for trade. This is something the C-suite needs to seriously consider. The time for half measures is over. They need to make the most of Daniels' rookie contract before what could be a record-breaking extension in the next few years. Considering where Washington expects to draft going forward, those picks become expendable for high-level options via trade. That's a small change in Peters' plans. But then again, players like Garrett don't come around every day. Like the situation with cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, this isn't an aging star with one more good year left in him. Trading for Garrett represents an investment in the future. At least the next 3 years, if not longer when a new contract comes in. There are no injury concerns, given Garrett's durability over the past 4 seasons. He also just turned 29 and is looking better than ever. Garrett will cost 2 first-round picks and more. That's a lot to give up, but watching their division rival Philadelphia Eagles dominate in the Super Bowl means Peters will have to be more aggressive to keep up. Securing a trade for Garrett would change everything. It would instantly legitimize the Commanders' intent to shore up their defense. They have the draft capital and the extra financial resources to do so. What Peters needs to figure out is whether such a move would jeopardize their ability to strengthen other areas of need. The rewards far outweigh the risk. Washington is on the cusp of something truly special. They need to make sure a fairy tale start under coach Dan Quinn becomes something sustainable. Trading for Garrett represents the kind of bold move that would cement their place at the NFL's top table. It may be too much for Peters' blood, but it doesn't hurt to find out for sure.